The hum of the exploratory vessel seeker was the only sound for light years, a soft thrum against the deep void. My name is Rylan, a xenobiologist with the Galactic Collective, and silence had been my constant companion for decades, until I stumbled upon a signal. Not just any signal, but a chaotic burst of energy unlike anything cataloged in collective archives, radiating from an uncharted system. Protocols screamed for caution, for distant scans, for bureaucratic review. But the raw, untamed vitality of this signal, it resonated within me, a primal curiosity overriding millennia of learned restraint. I ignored protocol. I had to understand. As Seeker approached the third planet of the nameless yellow star, the signal intensified, evolving from a chaotic burst into something structured, something composed. It wasn't just energy. It was sound, but not sound as we understood it within the collective. Melodies, rhythms, harmonies, all interwoven with an emotional intensity that was startling. My crew, beings of pure logic and ordered thought, registered only anomalous energy readings. But for me, it was a symphony of raw, untamed feeling. It was human music. I isolated a single potent stream, originating from a small, unassuming satellite orbiting the blue-green world. It was a voice, raw and powerful, layered over a driving, rhythmic pulse percussion, I would later learn. Underneath, a complex tapestry of harmonies, clashing and resolving in ways that defied collective sonic algorithms. It resonated deep within my sensory nodes, a sensation both alien and strangely familiar. This was chaotic, unrefined, and utterly breathtakingly alive. It was, a human contact later explained, called rock and roll, a primal scream of existence. And in that moment, orbiting a nameless world and hearing the raw soul of humanity for the first time, I knew instinctively that the Galactic Collective, with its sterile order, would never understand. But I, Rylan, was already irrevocably changed. I was hooked. My covert investigation became more than just research. It became a lifeline. Under the guise of cataloging stellar anomalies, I immersed myself in human music, the Seeker's data banks swelling with forbidden sound. Ava, the human stationed at that remote outpost, became my clandestine guide. Through encrypted bursts across the subspace static, she painted vivid pictures of human musical culture. Genres like blues, jazz, soul, each a distinct emotional landscape I navigated with increasing fascination. Ava explained how humans used music as a mirror, reflecting the full spectrum of their existence. Joyous celebrations, heart-wrenching grief, fierce defiance, tender love, emotions meticulously regulated and subdued within the collective, but unleashed in human sound with breathtaking abandon. She spoke of shared experiences, gatherings in darkened halls pulsing with rhythm, vast open-air festivals resonating with collective voices, intimate moments underscored by delicate melodies. The collective, I began to understand, didn't just control sound, it controlled feeling itself. Their own music was a tool for order, for predictable responses, not for the unpredictable, messy, vital current of genuine emotion. Driven to understand the collective's stark sonic limitations, I cautiously shared a fragment of human music with Alara, a fellow xenobiologist, a colleague I had known for cycles, someone I believed open-minded. I chose a classical piece, something structured, harmonious in a collective sense, yet still possessing a raw, underlying power. Alara listened, her sensory tendrils twitching in an unfamiliar agitation. Intriguing, she conceded, her voice modulated to its usual calm, analytical tone, but discordant, unsettlingly emotional. It evokes instability. She paused, her tendrils retracting slightly. Rylan, are you certain this aligns with collective research directives? Her reaction was a subtle tremor, but it hinted at the fault lines. The collective prized order, predictability, control in all things, including sound. And human music, It was inherently chaotic, unpredictable, a wild variable in their carefully balanced equation. Ilara's unease was a quiet warning, a foreshadowing of the storm brewing on the horizon. The whispers of Earth, I realized, were not just captivating me. They were potentially dangerous, not just to the established sonic order, but to the very foundations of the collective itself. I attempted to rationalize my growing fascination, framing it within the rigid structure of collective research protocols. I prepared a formal report, carefully worded, emphasizing the unusual sonic structures and potential for interspecies cultural analysis of the human signal. I included a sanitized fragment of the orchestral piece, stripped of its most overtly turbulent, emotional peaks, hoping to present it as a curious anomaly rather than a revolutionary force. I submitted the report to Commander Vor, my direct supervisor, a being of logic and unwavering adherence to collective directives. Vor reviewed it with a detached professionalism, his sensory nodes barely flickering as he processed the data. He listened to the sanitized music sample with a neutral expression. "Unconventional sonic arrangements, Rylan," he commented, his voice as measured as ever. "Not without a certain primitive charm. However, I fail to see its practical application within collective parameters. It lacks structure. Purpose." He paused, his tone shifting, a subtle undercurrent of concern. "Xenomusicology is a peripheral field, Rylan. Resources are allocated based on strategic relevance. The collective prioritizes sonic forms that enhance societal cohesion, emotional stability, and logical clarity. This, human music, seems to promote the opposite. Unrestrained emotional expression, subjective interpretation, these are not traits the collective encourages." His words were carefully chosen, officially neutral. But beneath the surface, I detected a distinct unease. Vor, a creature of protocol, was subtly advising caution, hinting at something beyond mere bureaucratic disapproval. "The collective music board," he added almost as an afterthought, his voice dropping to a near whisper, "they are particular about sonic purity. Deviation from established norms is often discouraged." The collective music board. I knew of them, of course. Guardians of galactic sonic orthodoxy, enforcers of auditory conformity. But they operated in the abstract, distant, enforcing rules, not inspiring fear. Yet Vor's subtle warning, his hushed tone when mentioning them, it painted a different picture. A picture of rigid authority, of intolerance towards anything deemed deviant. And I, Rylan, by delving into the forbidden emotional depths of human music, was treading on dangerously thin ice. The whispers of Earth, once just intriguing sounds in the void, were starting to feel like a tangible threat. Not to me, personally, but to the carefully constructed sonic and emotional order of the galactic collective. And the gears of that order, I sensed, were beginning to turn against anything that threatened its fragile equilibrium. The summons arrived not as a physical object, but as a disruption in my own sensory field, a sharp, jarring resonance that cut through the seeker's quiet hum. It was encoded, undeniable, unmistakably official. The Galactic Collective Music Board demanded my presence. No explanation, no pleasantries, just the cold, unyielding frequency of authority. My unauthorized research into human music had not gone unnoticed. It had triggered an alarm, and now the guardians of galactic sonic purity were calling me to account. The Galactic Collective Music Board, even the name resonated with an oppressive weight. They were the arbiters of sound, the gatekeepers of auditory conformity, their influence stretching across light years of collective space. To be summoned by them was not merely a reprimand, it was a chilling premonition. I knew, with a certainty that settled like ice in my sensory nodes, that Counselor Zill, the board's formidable head, would be waiting. A being of legendary rigidity, her adherence to sonic protocol absolute, her judgment final. My report, sanitized and carefully worded as it was, had clearly been insufficient. They hadn't dismissed it, hadn't filed it away as an inconsequential anomaly. They had listened, or in their terms, processed, and in their infinite, emotionless wisdom, they had reached a verdict. A galaxy-wide broadcast, overriding all other communications channels, announced it to every collective citizen. Human music was outlawed. Counselor Zill's pronouncement was chillingly precise, delivered in a monotone drone that embodied the very sonic sterility the board championed. Citizenry of the collective, her voice resonated, devoid of inflection, yet carrying the full weight of official decree. The Galactic Music Board has concluded its evaluation of unauthorized sonic frequencies originating from a pre-collective world designated Earth, a collective intake of C. Mutilated breath rippled across the communication networks. Even the name of the forbidden world carried a weight now. These sonic frequencies, Zill continued, designated human music, have been categorized as emotionally destabilizing. Their chaotic structures, their unpredictable rhythmic patterns, their blatant exploitation of disharmonious intervals pose a significant threat to galactic sonic harmony. Exposure to these frequencies induces erratic emotional responses, undermines logical coherence, and disrupts the carefully calibrated sonic equilibrium essential for collective societal function. The ban was absolute, comprehensive in its scope. Possession, transmission, replication, or even passive reception of human music is henceforth prohibited. All extant recordings, analyses, and related materials are to be surrendered to the Collective Music Board for immediate sonic neutralization. Citizens found in violation of this decree will be subject to mandatory sonic reharmonization protocols. The chilling euphemism hung in the air, unspoken, yet understood by every sentient being within the collective. Sonic reharmonization, the erasure of deviation, the forced return to conformity. Back on the Seeker, within the sterile confines of my private research chamber, a coded message pulsed onto my console. A desperate, hurried burst from Ava smuggled through the ever-tightening collective surveillance net. Ryland, they know, not just about the music, about you. They are watching everywhere, the Federation. They don't tolerate anything, anyone they can't control. Be silent. Be invisible. Be careful, please. Her fear, transmitted across light years, was a cold wave washing over my own sensory nodes. The collective, I realized with a sickening certainty, wasn't just banning music. They were targeting me. Counselor Zill's summons arrived directly on the heels of Ava's warning, encoded now in harsh, demanding frequencies that vibrated through the Seeker's very hull. Researcher designation Rylan. By order of the Galactic Collective Music Board, you are commanded to present yourself to the Central Harmony Station for immediate evaluation. Evaluation. The word hung in the air, deceptively benign, a thin veil over the chilling reality of interrogation, of enforced re-education. My orders were stark, unambiguous: cease all unauthorized research. Surrender all data. Report for sonic reharmonization. But the human music, now officially forbidden, now branded a threat, throbbed within me, an insistent, rebellious pulse in my very being. I had felt its truth, its raw power, the expansive, messy, vibrant spectrum of human emotion it unleashed. To surrender it, to silence it, to allow the collective to neutralize its energy. It felt like a betrayal, not just of the music, but of something essential within myself, something that had only just begun to awaken. I was a xenobiologist of the collective, yes, bound by duty, by protocol, by millennia of ingrained order. But I was also, fundamentally, a being of sound. And this sound, this outlawed, dangerous, achingly beautiful human music, it resonated with a truth that the sterile harmonies of the collective could never touch. Obey or defy, conform or rebel, the question, once a theoretical exercise, was now a brutal, visceral choice. And the music, the forbidden, intoxicating, revolutionary human music, was resonating within me, louder, stronger, more insistent than ever before, pulling me not towards sonic reharmonization but towards defiance, towards the unknown, towards a silent, desperate rebellion against the suffocating silence of the galactic collective. The Federation Music Board expected obedience. Counselor Zill demanded conformity, but they, in their rigid adherence to order, had underestimated two critical variables: the profound resonance of human music and the latent spark of defiance within a collective xenobiologist named Rylan. The Seeker, officially broadcasting a return trajectory to collective space for my mandated evaluation, executed a sharp, coded deviation, veering off course and plunging into the uncharted nebulae bordering collective territories. I became, in that moment, a fugitive, but also something far more potent, a broadcaster of forbidden frequencies, a seed sower of sonic rebellion. Using the Seeker's advanced communication array, I began my clandestine transmissions. Not a galaxy-wide declaration of war on silence, not yet. Instead, I chose subtlety, precision. Encrypted, low-frequency signals, ghosting through the galactic background radiation, each pulse carrying a carefully selected piece of human music. My target audience was not the collective as a whole, not at first, but the fringes, the edges, the cracks in the monolithic structure of sonic conformity. I aimed for systems known for their own suppressed artistic traditions, worlds rumored to harbor a yearning for something beyond the sterile harmonies of the collective. A mournful blues riff pulsed towards a Volare mining colony, a world known for its emotionally muted utilitarian existence. A defiant punk rock anthem screamed into the void, aimed at a Xerxesian labor camp, a place where individuality was systematically crushed. A haunting, melancholic ballad, full of longing and loss, drifted towards a lonely collective observation post on a desolate moon, a place of enforced silence and isolation. Each transmission was a carefully chosen seed, planted in the barren sonic landscape of the collective. Weeks blurred into cycles as I broadcast, analyzed, and waited. Doubt gnawed at my sensory nodes. Was anyone listening? Was the music even reaching them through the suffocating static of collective control? Then faint whispers began to flicker back across the subspace channels. Encrypted messages, coded bursts of static that, when decoded, revealed hesitant, cautious responses. Unauthorized frequencies detected, one message began, unusual emotional resonance. Another whispered, something different. Species across the galaxy, it seemed, weary of the collective's emotional and sonic monochrome, were not just listening, they were hearing, they were feeling. Counselor Zill's response, when it came, was swift, brutal, and utterly predictable. Collective surveillance intensified, blanketing vast swathes of space, hunting for any flicker of unauthorized transmission. Enforcement units, sonic suppressors armed and ready, were deployed, their ships sleek black predators in the void, their sole purpose: to silence the sound of rebellion before it could truly begin. The hunt for the rogue vessel Seeker was officially underway. But the music, once unleashed, proved impossible to contain. It was a virus, not of code or contagion, but of feeling. A Xerxesian artist, risking everything, began weaving human rhythms, raw and defiant, into their forbidden protest chants, broadcasting them on localized pirate frequencies. Volare miners, deep in the echoing shafts of their subterranean world, began to hum human melodies, their work rhythms subtly infused with an alien, forbidden emotional depth. Even on tightly controlled collective stations, whispers of that outlawed sound started to circulate, shared in hushed tones, listened to in hidden chambers, a dangerous, thrilling secret. And then came the messages from Vor. Ostensibly, they were coded warnings, official directives transmitted from collective command, detailing the escalating search for the Seeker, outlining my increasingly dire fugitive status. But within those official frequencies, subtly layered, almost imperceptible, were boosts. coded enhancements to my broadcast range, pushing the human music signal further, deeper into collective space. Veiled directional cues leading me away from surveillance zones towards pockets of darkness in the ever-tightening net. War, my pragmatic, protocol-driven superior, was not just tracking me. He was aiding me. He, too, it seemed, had been touched by the outlawed sound, torn between his collective duty and something far older, far more primal, perhaps a Lyrax's long-dormant yearning for authentic emotional expression. Finally, irrevocably awakened by the dangerous, beautiful, revolutionary sounds of hum. And music, the underground symphony, was no longer just growing, it was erupting. And the Galactic Collective's meticulously constructed sonic order, its sterile, emotionless harmony was, with each illicit note, with each whispered melody, beginning to crack, to shatter, to fall apart. Human music, once a mere curiosity, was rapidly becoming a galaxy-wide revolution. The symphony went supernova. My clandestine broadcasts, amplified by Vor's coded assistants and the galaxy's yearning heart, had erupted into a wildfire of sound. Human music, blues, rock, symphonies, ballads. It flooded illicit channels, bounced off hidden satellites, pulsed through underground networks, shared, copied, remixed, and reborn in countless alien variations. A true galactic renaissance, chaotic and vibrant, was underway. Volare blues intertwined with Xerxesian protest anthems. Xerian opera now pulsed with human rock and roll energy. The galaxy, once muted and predictable, vibrated with a living, breathing, emotionally charged soundscape. Counselor Zill, predictably, was incandescent with rage. The Stardust, no longer just a fugitive vessel but now a symbol of open defiance, became Counselor Zill's personal obsession. A monstrous galactic collective dreadnought, the Harmonious Decree, a vessel designed explicitly for sonic suppression, emerged from hyperspace, intercepting us in a nebula choked with cosmic dust and swirling electromagnetic interference. It was a trap, elegant and inescapable. Counselor Zill's image flickered onto the Seeker's main view screen, cold, crystalline, utterly unyielding. Rylan, her voice, amplified to a booming monotone, filled the Seeker's bridge. Your sonic rebellion ends. Now, cease your illegal transmissions. Surrender for immediate sonic reharmonization. I stood on the Seeker's command deck, facing the looming dreadnought, the galaxy holding its simulated breath. Every illicit communication channel suddenly, terrifyingly silent, focused on our standoff. Counselor Zill, I responded, my voice amplified, broadcasting across the nebula, across the silent galaxy. You call it rebellion, I call it awakening. I am not broadcasting chaos. I am broadcasting truth. I am broadcasting emotion. I am broadcasting humanity. And then, knowing this could be my final act, I unleashed my weapon. Not plasma cannons, not deflector shields, not any instrument of destruction, but sound itself. I activated the Seeker's full-spectrum communication array, bypassing all collective encryption protocols, overriding all local frequencies. I broadcast, not static, not defiance, not empty words, but music. A meticulously curated playlist, each piece chosen with deliberate care, designed to pierce the collective's sonic defenses, to bypass their emotional suppression, to resonate directly with the soul. Human symphonies swelled, majestic, heartbreaking, and ultimately triumphant, their complex harmonies defying the collective's simplistic sonic structures. Rock anthems roared with raw, untamed energy, their driving rhythms a primal pulse of rebellion. Blues ballads mourned with exquisite vulnerability, their melodies weaving tales of sorrow and resilience, of pain transmuted into unexpected beauty. Hip-hop rhythms pulsed with defiant, joyous life, a vibrant declaration of existence in the face of oppression. The Harmonious Decree, a dreadnought built to enforce silence, was bombarded not with weapons, but with a torrent of raw, unfiltered human emotion. On the view screen, the imposing dreadnought, Harmonious Decree, began to falter. Its energy shields flickered, overloaded. Its imposing silhouette seemed to waver, to lose its rigid definition. Counselor Zill's crystalline image on my screen fractured, pixelated, distorted, her voice sputtering, her carefully constructed monotone cracking, breaking, betraying a flicker of something. Confusion, agitation. Across the galaxy, across the suddenly unsilenced airwaves, countless receivers, both authorized and illicit, picked up the Seeker's broadcast, amplifying the human symphony, carrying it further, wider, deeper into collective space than ever before. The nebula itself seemed to shimmer, to vibrate, not with cosmic dust, but with the raw, untamed power of human emotion unleashed through sound. The standoff impossibly morphed into a galaxy-wide debate, broadcast on every available channel. Counselor Zill, her voice now strained, sputtering pronouncements about sonic chaos, emotional instability, societal collapse, was unbelievably drowned out. Drowned out by a chorus of voices, rising in passionate, heartfelt, and increasingly harmonious unison. Voices from 1,000 worlds, demanding artistic freedom, demanding emotional expression, demanding the right to feel. Species long muted, long suppressed by the collective's iron sonic fist, found their voices, amplified, ironically, by the very sounds Counselor Zill had sought to banish, by the outlawed, the dangerous, the breathtakingly human music now flooding the galaxy. And in the face of that overwhelming chorus, in the face of a galaxy awakened, the galactic collective music board fractured. The sterile edifice of sonic control, meticulously constructed over millennia, crumbled under the weight of a human blues riff, the raw power of a rock anthem, the delicate beauty of a ballad. The ban on human music, in a stunned, hastily broadcast announcement, was repealed. Human music, no longer outlawed, no longer feared, was not just tolerated, it was welcomed, celebrated, recognized finally as a vital, transformative, and profoundly enriching force within the galactic cultural tapestry. The Seeker, no longer a fugitive vessel, no longer hunted, turned towards collective space, not in chains, not in surrender, but in triumph. I, Rylan, the rogue xenobiologist, the outlaw broadcaster, became, to my utter astonishment, a cultural hero, a symbol of sonic liberation, a reluctant icon of galactic artistic freedom. Commander Vor, emerging from the shadows of coded messages and veiled assistance, greeted me, not with reprimand, but with a nod of something akin to respect. I stood once more on the Seeker's bridge, the hum of the vessel now a joyous vibration, not a sterile drone. And I listened. I truly listened. To the galaxy, no longer silent, no longer conforming, but alive, humming with a vibrant, messy, achingly beautiful symphony of human and alien voices. Finally, gloriously, breathtakingly free to express the full, chaotic, glorious spectrum of their emotions. The music, human music, galactic music, our music played on, a testament to the simple, revolutionary truth. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is not force, but feeling. And the universe finally, completely, and irrevocably was listening. The galactic streams, once sterile channels of collective propaganda, now exploded with commentary, not with fear or annoyance, but with wonder, with exhilaration, with a newfound and profoundly moving appreciation for the sound of the human heart. The revolution, improbable, impossible, utterly, gloriously, beautifully, sounded good.